Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I've been thinking, which is always dangerous. Um, Band conditions, I've been for shortwave, have been improving here and there. One day it'll be good, one day it'll be bad. Couple days good, couple days bad. But I was trying to think of a way that we could communicate about band conditions. And I'm just kind of kicking this around. I'm looking for your inputs. Don't know if I'll go anywhere with this, but trying to set up like a group or a team for reporting band conditions. And what I mean by band conditions, I mean shortwave propagation. How well are you receiving shortwave? Past couple of days, I've been receiving shortwave pretty darn good. Now, if we look at this right here, this is one place where they have information about the solar activity, which relates to shortwave propagation, shortwave listing. And this particular website, which is wm7d.net, he has all these graphs and everything about solar conditions. This is one of his web pages. And if we come down here, where is it? Down here is the what they call the 11-year cycle. And here's a better one down here. Here's what I'm looking for. And it's related to solar activity, which is propagated by the number of sunspots. And this goes through an 11-year cycle. And when the number of sunspots is up and the solar flux index is therefore up, shortwave propagation is good. So you can see here, this is by year starting in 2000. And you can see it went down. And then at 2008 and 9 and 10, it was in the toilet. And then it came up a little bit, but not near as good. Now, we want numbers typically, and this is just one thing that is a factor on reception. We want the sunspot number to be over 100. That's where we want it to be. We want it to be in this range right here. And this last cycle, which started up in 2010 and then kind of peaked at 2014, didn't go as high. It had, a couple of days, months, whatever, above 100. And this is kind of a crude plot. So if you plotted every day, there are a bunch of days in this area that were over 100. That's when times were good, and then it started coming back down. And now this is where we're at now. We're down in this valley right here. The predicted was this red line, so we're below the red line. And you can see in 2017 there were a couple of good periods. Now we're starting 2018, and this past couple of weeks, we've had days of good propagation, a lot of activity on the shortwave bands. That's what I'm trying to get a handle on, how we can communicate to each other that, hey, conditions are good, turn your radio on, see what you can hear. So I'm thinking of some kind, and this is just in the development stage and it may not go anywhere. I'm thinking of some kind of monitoring team. And the more people, the better. And what I was thinking about doing is, I have a website out there that's like, it's growing all kinds of crud on it because it's sitting there dead. And I think I can reactivate it. Maybe, maybe not. So that's one way I could collect your inputs to me and I could put it on that website. That's one way. Another way would be just to do a short video and say, this is what I got in the past couple of days. Now, the thing is, right now, band conditions, when they go good, or better, I should say, they don't last very long. Maybe 3 or 4 days tops right now. So I need to get the information to you as soon as possible. And I'm looking for trends. So I've got to figure out, you know, at what level do I announce that it looks like band conditions are good? That's another little factor. You know, getting one report is not really going to trigger my putting some kind of post or something that, hey, go turn your radios on. I need to get a couple of reports. And what's ideal about my YouTube channel is I have subscribers all over the world. And so that makes it ideal. And of course, band conditions, say they were good in Australia, they might not be good here in the United States, but it may be an indication that they are going to be good at some point in time in the next few days. So I really don't know how to do this. I'm looking for your inputs of how we can set up some kind of network, team of monitors, people that are using their shortwave radios and are watching for an increase in activity on shortwave. How can we get that information to the group? Like I say, one way would be for me to post a short video. I could do that. That's not a big deal. Well, sometimes it is. Another way is to try to revamp my webpage. And then the last way, which probably would be the most effective, is if I set up an email list of all the people that want to get the information and just send out an email. I send out a bulk email to everybody on the list. I don't know if that's going to work or not. So if you have some ideas, or if you think this is ridiculous, that's okay. You can let me know. You can either post a comment here, or better yet, you can send me an email to trrs73@gmail.com and tell me what you think. Any suggestions? If you don't like the idea, that's okay. You can tell me that, and I'll kind of mull it over for the next week or so and see if we can come up with some kind of reporting scheme so that we can let our fellow shortwave listeners know, hey, turn the radio on. It's working. The bands are open. So much for that. Let me know. All right. Let's go back, different subject, to this show right here, where I did the introduction of the Retevis DMR RT82 radio. This is a digital radio that is used by amateur operators to communicate with people throughout the world on this little handheld radio via repeaters. That's stations that are local to you that you can communicate with, and then repeat it, whatever you said, on this network, on this digital network, to people throughout the world. The plan was next to have Doug, who is very knowledgeable of these radios. And he's been my mentor to help me get my radio going. That Retevis sent to me to do a review. And so we got that going. And the plan was this weekend we were going to do a hangout on the air, and I was going to ask him a bunch of questions that I asked him before over the past month, and let him give the responses for the listeners. So you guys can kind of learn the way I did, although it's going to be compressed. It's not going to be over 6 weeks. Unfortunately, this weekend, his employer made him work all weekend and work 12-hour day shifts. So this weekend was a bust. We will try again for the weekend. I think that's the best time to do it. That's when people are most likely to be available. Now, why is that important? Because we also want to you, as the subscribers and viewers, to ask him questions. Now, we looked at doing a hangout on the air with him as a guest. Well, it turns out his internet access, because he kind of lives in a rural area, is not very good. So it would be impossible for him to do that. So what I'm going to attempt is I'm going to do the hangout on the air, and I will have him on the phone. I'm going to try to use my Google Home smart device, whatever you call those things, because it allows you to make phone calls, and it has a good speaker, let me put it this way, a better speaker system than my cell phone. My cell phone is like, blah, 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 blah. You know, you can't understand anybody. I really don't like cell phones. I guess, you know, I don't have an Apple, so I have a Samsung, Android, and the speaker, using the speaker phone is garbage. Okay, so that is the plan. We're going to shoot again for this weekend. I'm going to talk to him during the week and see, you know, if he's going to be available. If it is, I will probably announce it, the hangout, like Friday, so that you will know it's going to happen on Saturday. Now, there may be circumstances where his boss says, oh, sorry, you got to work this weekend, and we'll have to cancel it again. We just have to play it by ear. Might even do it during this week. It's strictly up to Doug's schedule. I'm retired, so I can do it almost any time. Doug is still working, and apparently he has to work overtime sometimes, so we're going to work around Doug's schedule. And I want him on the radio to answer your questions, because if I attempt to answer your questions, I'll probably give you bad information about DMR. I know some about it, but I can easily make a mistake trying to answer your question. So that's the plan. I'm really looking forward to if we can pull that off. That will be great. And I thank Doug for his help and patience. So again, about the network, a monitor, a group of people, please give me your inputs. I think we could do something like this and help each other out. That's it. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.